Kang Minho walked through the long hallway of the Galactic Council building. His black suit was clean and pressed, but his face showed worry. Behind him walked Admiral Park Hyunwoo and Chief Science Officer Lee Suna. They were Earth's best people, but today they felt very small. The hallway was made of blue crystal that seemed to glow from inside. The walls were so tall that Minho had to look up to see the top. Everything about this place was built to make visitors feel tiny and unimportant. It worked. "Remember what we talked about," Minho whispered to his team. "Stay calm no matter what, they say." Park Hyunwoo nodded. He was a strong man with gray hair who had fought in 3 wars, but even he felt nervous in this place. Lee Suna adjusted her glasses and checked her datapad one more time. She had all the facts about humanity's colonies, but she wondered if facts would matter today. They reached the main chamber doors. The doors were huge and made of the same glowing crystal. 2 alien guards stood beside them. The guards looked like giant insects with 4 arms and green skin. They wore no clothes but had metal bands around their arms with weapons attached. "Humans," one guard said in a voice that sounded like clicking bugs. "You will enter when called." The doors opened slowly. Inside, the chamber was even bigger than the hallway. The ceiling went up so high it disappeared into darkness. Around the room, 12 platforms floated in the air. On each platform sat a different type of alien. Minho recognized some of them from his studies. The Velthari looked like huge ants but walked on 2 legs. Their leader had wings that sparkled in the light. The Noxani were tall and thin like ghosts, floating above their platform without touching it. The Sectar were the worst. They looked like giant lizards with sharp teeth and cold yellow eyes. In the center of the room, High Counselor Thex Moran sat on the biggest platform. He was Sectar, with dark green scales and claws instead of hands. When he spoke, his voice was deep and scary. "Humans of Earth," Thex Moran said, "you have been called here to answer for your crimes." Minho stepped forward. "High Counselor, we have committed no crimes. We have followed all council laws." A sound like laughing came from the Velthari platform. Their leader clicked her mandibles together. "Humans think they know about law. How amusing." "You have expanded beyond your allowed space," said the Noxani, representative in a voice like wind. "You have built colonies where you should not." Lee Suna looked at her datapad. "The systems we colonized were empty. No one lived there. We checked the council records." "Empty does not mean free," Thex Moran said. His yellow eyes stared at the humans. "Those systems were disputed territory." "Disputed by who?" Park Hyunwoo asked. His soldier training made him speak clearly. "We found no claims on them." "By us," Thex Moran said simply. "The council decides what is disputed." Minho felt anger growing in his chest, but he kept his voice calm. "High Counselor, humanity has been a member of the Galactic Council for 30 years. We have followed every rule. We have paid every tax. We have accepted every limit you placed on us. And you will continue to do so," said a new voice. This came from the Kethmar platform. The Kethmar looked like walking trees with faces in their bark. "Young species must learn patience." "Young species," Lee Suna said quietly. She was tired of hearing those words. "Yes," Thex Moran said. "Humans are still children in galactic terms. You have existed for only a few million years. We have ruled the galaxy for over 50 million years. We know what is best." The other council members made sounds of agreement. Some clicked, some hummed, some made noises like growling. "What is our punishment this time?" Minho asked. "Punishment is not the right word," said the Noxani. "Think of it as guidance. All human colonies must return to your home system," Thex Moran announced. "Earth and its moon and planets only. No more expansion, no more exploration. This is for your own good." Park Hyunwoo's face turned red. "You want us to abandon millions of people? Our colonies have families, children, entire cities." "They chose to leave Earth," the Velthari leader clicked. "They can choose to return." "And if they refuse?" Lee Suna asked. Thexmoran's smile showed all his sharp teeth. Then they will learn why the council's word is law. Minho looked at his team, then back at the council. How long do we have? 1 Earth year, Thexmoran said. After that, any human found outside your home system will be considered a criminal. The meeting was over. The 3 humans walked back through the crystal hallway in silence. Only when they reached their ship did Park Hyunwoo speak. They mean it, he said. They really want us locked in our own system forever. It's not about space, Lee Suna said. It's about control. They're afraid of something. Afraid of us? Minho asked. Maybe. Or afraid of what we might become. Back on Earth, President Kim Ji-woo sat in her office reading the report from the council meeting. She was a small woman with kind eyes, but those eyes were hard now. Around the table sat her best advisors. They've gone too far this time, said Admiral Choi De-hyun. He was older than Park Hyun-woo, with scars on his hands from his years as a pilot. We can't just abandon our people. The colonies support 12 billion people, said Economic Advisor Nam Woo-jin. Bringing them all back to Earth is impossible. Then we don't bring them back, Kim Ji-woo said quietly. Everyone looked at her. Ma'am? Choi De-hyun asked. For 30 years, we've done everything, they asked. We've been good little children. But children grow up. She stood and walked to the window. Outside, she could see the lights of New Seoul spreading in all directions. What are you thinking? Asked Defense Minister Yang Min-ju. Kim Ji-woo turned, back to the room. I'm thinking it's time to show the council what happens when you push humans too hard. On Luna Station, Dr. Yoon Min-ji worked late in her lab. She was close to a breakthrough that could change everything. For 5 years, she had been working on quantum drive technology in secret. The council thought humans were limited to old-fashioned rockets. They were wrong. Her computer screen showed the test results from yesterday. The prototype had worked perfectly. A small probe had jumped instantly from Earth to Mars without traveling through the space between. The council had nothing like this. Technology. Computer encrypt all files with Protocol 7, she said. Files encrypted, the computer replied. Yoon Min-ji looked out the window at Earth below. The planet looked peaceful, but she knew that was about to change. The council had made their biggest mistake. They had threatened humanity's children. In the history books, this day would be remembered as the beginning of the end for the Galactic Council. They just didn't know it yet. 3 months had passed since the council's order. The effects were already showing across human space. On Mars, Colonial Governor Bae Taijun stood on the observation deck of New Busan City and watched the empty sky. No ships had come to Mars in 2 weeks. Governor, said his aide, Ko Jinsu, the food shipment from Europa has been turned away again. The alien transport captain said he won't risk council punishment. Bae Taijun nodded slowly. Europa grew most of the fresh food for the outer colonies. Without those shipments, Mars would run out of food in 4 months. What about the medicine shipment from Titan? Also turned away, sir. The governor looked at the red Martian landscape. 3 million people lived in the domed cities of Mars. They had built something beautiful. Here, schools, parks, even small forests under the domes. Now it might all be lost because aliens in faraway systems were afraid of the council. Send a message to Earth, Bae Taijun said. Tell them we're running out of time. On Earth, President Kim Ji-woo received similar messages from all the human colonies. The asteroid mining stations were isolated. The research bases could not get supplies. Worst of all, families were being separated. Children born on Mars had never seen Earth. Parents on Europa had not seen their grown children on Titan for months. The council isn't just ordering us home, Admiral Choi De-hyun said in the emergency meeting. They're starving us out first. The psychological warfare is working too, said Dr. Han Jae-young, Earth's top expert on alien cultures. Fear is spreading. Through the colonies, some people are already talking about giving up. Kim Ji-woo looked tired. She had not slept well in weeks. What about our secret preparations? Dr. Yoon Min-ji's quantum drive is ready for testing on larger ships, Choi De-hyun reported. The Luna shipyards have built 3 prototype warships using the new technology, but we need time to build more. Time we don't have, said Defense Minister Yang Minju. The council's deadline is in 9 months. The president stood up. Then we better hope they give us a reason to act before then. The reason came sooner than anyone expected. Captain Song Hana commanded the exploration ship, New Seoul. She was young for a captain, only 32, but she was one of the best pilots humanity had ever produced. Her ship was in the Kepler system, helping civilian transports evacuate the mining colonies there. Captain, said her communications officer, Lee Dong-min, we're getting a message from the transport Busan. They say council ships are approaching. Song, Hana moved to the command chair. Put it on screen. The face of Chief Engineer Oh Kyung-soo appeared. He was an older man with kind eyes, but those eyes showed fear now. New Seoul, we have council enforcement ships demanding we surrender. They say we're in violation of the evacuation order. How many ships? Song Hana asked. 12 warships. We're just civilian transports. We have 3,000 people aboard. 5 ships. Song Hana's jaw tightened. The Busan and her group were carrying families from the mining stations. Children, elderly people, workers who had lived in the Kepler system for 20 years. They were slowly heading back to Earth. But the journey took time. Tell them you're complying with the council order, Song Hana said. You're leaving the system. Oh Kyung-soo shook his head. They say we're too slow. They say we should have left months ago. We're coming to your position, Song Hana said. Do not engage. Do not fight back. But Song Hana knew her small exploration ship could not fight 12 council warships. She could only watch and record what happened. The New Seoul arrived just in time to see the end. The council ships were sleek and dangerous looking, with weapons that glowed with energy. The human transports looked like flying cities next to them. Families were pressed against the windows, children crying as they saw the alien warships surrounding them. Oh Kyung-soo's voice came over the radio one last time. This is the transport Busan. We are civilians complying with council orders. We have children aboard. Please do not. The council ships opened fire. Song Hana watched in horror as plasma beams cut through the transport ships like knives through paper. The Busan exploded first, its hull tearing apart in a flash of light. Then the Daegu, the Gwangju, the Ulsan, and the Jeju. 5 ships, 3,000 people, gone in 30 seconds. Captain, Lee Dong-min said, his voice shaking. Should we record everything? Song Hana said. Her voice was cold with rage. Make sure Earth sees this. Oh Kyung-soo's final message reached Earth 6 hours later. The recording showed everything. Families at the windows, children waving goodbye to the stars they would never see again. The plasma fire that ended 3,000 lives in seconds. The galaxy watched too. The council had made sure of that. They wanted everyone to see what happened to those who disobeyed. President Kim Ji-woo stood before the cameras in her office. Behind her, the flag of Earth hung next to the flag of the United Colonies. Her face was calm, but her eyes burned with anger. Citizens of Earth and all human colonies, she began. Today, the Galactic Council showed their true face. They murdered 3,000 innocent people whose only crime was being born human. She paused, letting her words sink in. For 30 years, we have been patient. We have followed their rules. We have accepted their limits on our growth, our trade, our very existence. We told ourselves it was the price of peace. The president's voice grew stronger. But there can be no peace with those who see us as less than people. There can be no compromise with those who would murder our children to make a point. She leaned forward, looking directly into the camera. The council thinks we are weak because we have been peaceful. They think we are afraid because we have followed their laws. They are wrong. Her final words were heard on every human world, every station, every ship. The council has forgotten that we are not their subjects. We are not their pets. We are human beings. And today, we say enough. The broadcast ended, but its effects were immediate. On Mars, Governor Bae-taejan opened the sealed orders he had been given months ago. On Europa, Station Commander Yu Seo-young activated communication codes she had memorized but never used. On Titan, Fleet Commander Ryu Dongyun received the message he had been waiting for. Protocol Omega was activated. Across the solar system, hidden facilities came online. On the dark side of the moon, massive doors opened to reveal shipyards that officially did not exist. Ships that looked like nothing the Council had ever seen began launching. These were not exploration vessels or civilian transports. These were warships built with quantum technology the Council did not know humanity possessed. Dr. Yoon Minji stood in the Luna Station Command Center, watching her life's work come to fruition. The quantum drives she had developed in secret were powering humanity's first real fleet. Ships that could appear anywhere instantly, armed with weapons that could punch through any known shield. "Dr. Yoon," said Captain Nam Hyun-suk, commander of the prototype warship Incheon, "all systems are green. We're ready." "Then God help us all," Yoon Minji whispered. The Council had wanted to see humanity's true nature. They were about to get their wish. Admiral Choi Dae-hyun took command of the main battle group from his flagship, the Seoul. It was humanity's largest warship, built in secret over 5 years. Its quantum drive could take it anywhere in known space in minutes instead of months. "All ships," he broadcast to the fleet, "remember what we fight for. Remember the Busan. Remember the 3000. The human fleet prepared to jump to their first target. The Council enforcement ships that had murdered the civilians were still in the Kepler system, probably celebrating their easy victory. They would not be celebrating for long. On Earth, President Kim Ji-woo watched the fleet disappear in flashes of blue light. There was no going back now. Humanity had chosen war over extinction. The Council was about to learn why that was a mistake. The Council enforcement ships were still in the Kepler system when the human fleet arrived. The alien commanders had not expected any response to their attack on the civilian transports. Humans were weak, they thought. Humans followed orders. Admiral Choi Dae-hyun stood on the bridge of the Seoul and looked at the 12 enemy ships through the view screen. These were the ships that had killed 3,000 innocent people. These were the murderers. "All ships, attack formation," he ordered. Thoma. Human fleet moved like nothing the Council had ever seen. The quantum drives let them appear and disappear instantly. One moment, the Council ships were alone in space. The next moment, 30 human warships surrounded them. Captain Park Sun-ho commanded the destroyer Incheon. His ship was smaller than the Council dreadnoughts, but it was faster and deadlier. "Target their command ship," he told his weapons officer. "Locked on, sir. Fire." The quantum torpedo hit the Council command ship before they could raise shields. The alien vessel, which had seemed so powerful when attacking defenseless transports, cracked open like an egg. Atmosphere rushed out in a cloud of frozen air. The Council ships tried to fight back, but their weapons could not target the human ships. The quantum drives let the human vessels phase in and out of normal space. They would appear, fire, and vanish before the aliens could respond. "This is impossible," the Velthari fleet commander transmitted. "Human technology cannot do this." Admiral Choi Dae-hyun opened a communication channel to all the surviving Council ships. "This is Admiral Choi Dae-hyun of the Earth Defense Force. You murdered civilians, children, families, now you pay the price." "We were following Council orders," the alien commander replied. "We are protected by—" "You are protected by nothing," Choi Dae-hyun said. "Surrender now or be destroyed." The Council ships chose to fight. It was a mistake. In 12 minutes, all 12 Council enforcement ships were destroyed or disabled. The human fleet took no casualties. The message to the galaxy was clear. Humanity was no longer helpless. But Admiral Choi Dae-hyun's mission was not just military. While his ships fought in space, Special Forces Commander Lim Soo-young led her team to a secret Council base hidden in the asteroid belt of the Kepler system. "Motion sensors show guards at the main entrance," her Sergeant Kim Dae-ho reported through his helmet radio. "How many?" 4 Sectar warriors. Heavy weapons." Commander Lim nodded. Her team was small, but well-trained. More importantly, they had equipment the Council had never seen. Stealth suits that bent light around them. Weapons that could punch through any known armor. "Remember, we need prisoners," she told her team. "We need to know what they're hiding." In there, the team moved like ghosts through the asteroid base. The council guards never saw them coming. Within minutes, the humans controlled the facility. What they found inside changed everything. "Commander," called Corporal Jang Seonho from deeper in the base. "You need to see this." Lim Soo-young followed him to a laboratory filled with tanks of green liquid. Inside the tanks were bodies. Human bodies. "Dear God," she whispered. The bodies were alive but unconscious. Tubes and wires connected them to machines. Computer screens showed brain activity, genetic scans, psychological profiles. The council had been experimenting on captured humans for years. "How many?" Lim asked. 237, Jang Seonho said, reading from a computer terminal, all taken from ships that were reported missing over the past 5 years. The commander's radio crackled. "Alpha Team, this is Beta Team. We found another lab. This one has children." Lim Soo-young's hands shook with rage. "Download everything, every file, every record, then get these people out of here." The rescue operation took 6 hours. When it was done, 237 humans were free. The records the team recovered would shock the galaxy. Meanwhile, on Earth, Intelligence Director Won Jin-hyuk was busy with his own mission. For months, he had been gathering evidence of the Council's crimes. Now it was time to share that evidence with the galaxy. "Are you sure about this?" asked his deputy Shin Minji. "Once we release this information, there's no taking it back." Won Jin-hyuk looked at the data on his screens. Records of 43 different alien species that had been removed by the Council over the past 1,000 years. Each species had been declared too dangerous or too unstable before being wiped out completely. "The galaxy needs to know the truth," he said. "Send it to every news network, every government, every independent station in known space." The information spread like wildfire. Young alien species that had lived in fear of the Council suddenly realized they were not alone. The Zephyrians, a bird-like people who had just developed spaceflight, were next on the Council's removal list. The Merkan Empire, aquatic beings from the ocean world of Tiamat, discovered that the Council planned to strip mine their home planet. The evidence was overwhelming. The Council was not a government. It was a protection racket run by ancient species who saw younger races as threats to be eliminated. Dr. Yoon Minji's greatest breakthrough came during the battle. Her quantum consciousness technology allowed human commanders to share thoughts across vast distances. Fleet Admiral Jong Min-seo sat in Earth's orbital command center, her mind linked to every human ship captain in the galaxy. "Admiral Park, enemy reinforcements approaching Sector 7, she communicated without words directly to Captain Park Sun-ho. "Understood," his thoughts replied. "Moving to intercept." The Council had never faced an enemy who could coordinate like this. Their ships fought as individuals. Human ships fought as a single organism with 30 minds thinking as one. The Council's second wave of attacks failed even worse than the first. High Counselor Thex Moran watched from his command ship as human vessels destroyed his fleets with impossible precision. "How are they doing this?" he roared at his tactical officer. "Unknown, High Counselor. Their technology is beyond our understanding." "That's impossible. Humans are primitives. They have barely left their home system." But the evidence was clear on his screens. Human ships moving faster than light without using hyperspace. Human weapons that ignored energy shields. Human tactics that seemed to predict every Council move before it happened. The worst moment for the Council came when Captain Ko Jin-woo of the human ship Daegu faced impossible odds. His ship was surrounded by 6 Council dreadnoughts. His quantum drive was damaged. He could not escape. "All human ships," Ko Jin-woo broadcast. "This is Captain Ko Jin-woo. My ship is dying, but my mission is not complete." The Council ships closed in for the kill, thinking they had finally trapped a human vessel. Ko Jin-woo smiled. For the 3,000 who died at Kepler, he activated his ship's experimental temporal shielding and rammed his vessel directly into the Council's largest mothership. The explosion could be seen from 3 star systems away. The Noxani mothership, pride of their ancient fleet, was destroyed along with the Daegu. But Captain Ko Jin-woo's sacrifice did more than destroy one ship. The temporal explosion disrupted the Council's communication network across 12 systems. For the first time in their long history, The Council's scattered fleets could not coordinate with each other. Human ships struck everywhere at once. Admiral Choi Dae-hyun's fleet hit the main Council base at Proxima Centauri. Captain Song Hana, promoted after her brave recording of the Kepler massacre, led strikes against Council supply lines. Commander Lim Soo-young's Special Forces teams liberated prison camps on 6 different worlds. The Council's 1,000-year reign of terror was collapsing in a matter of days. High Counselor Thexmoran retreated to the Council's most secure facility and sent out a desperate message to all remaining Council forces. All ships return to home base immediately. We face extinction. For the first time in their long lives, the Council members felt something they had made others feel for millennia: fear. They were about to learn that humans were very good at teaching fear to those who deserved it. The evidence that Intelligence Director Won Jin-hyuk released changed everything. Across the galaxy, young species that had lived in fear of the Council suddenly found courage. The truth was out. The Council were not protectors. They were killers. The Zephyrian ambassador, soaring wind through clouds, stood before his planetary council with the human intelligence reports in his taloned hands. His people looked like great eagles but walked upright like humans. "The reports are clear," he said, his voice like the cry of a hunting bird. "We are next on their removal list. In 6 months, the Council plans to declare us too aggressive for galactic peace and wipe us out." The Zephyrian Council erupted in angry screeches. They had always been a proud warrior people, but the Council had forced them to give up most of their weapons. "What do we do?" asked War Chief Sharp Talon Strikes. "We do what the humans did," Soaring Wind replied. "We say enough." The same scene, played out on dozens of worlds. The aquatic Mercon Empire discovered that the Council planned to drain their oceans for rare minerals. The insectoid Clithvar learned that their hive worlds would be turned into Council breeding grounds. The crystalline Nalthi found out that their people would be harvested for their ability to store energy. Species that had not spoken to each other in centuries began to communicate. The galaxy's younger races formed their first alliance in 10,000 years. They called themselves the Free Worlds Coalition, and they asked humanity to lead them. Diplomatic envoy Shin Dong-jun found himself in a situation no human had ever faced before. He sat in a great hall on the neutral world of Haven, surrounded by representatives of 43 different species. Some breathed air, others methane. Some were warm-blooded, others were living crystals. But they all had one thing in common. They were tired of living in fear. "We ask for your leadership," said Ambassador Flowing through depths of the Mercon. Her words came through a water-filled translation helmet. "Your species showed us that the Council can be defeated." "We're honored," Shin Dong-jun replied. "But we don't want to replace the Council as your rulers. We want to build something better." "What do you propose?" asked the Clithvar Queen speaker, her voice a harmony of 1,000 insects. "Partnership," Shin Dong-jun said simply. "Each species equal, each voice heard. No one race decides the fate of others." It was a radical idea. For 50,000 years, the galaxy had been ruled by the strong. Now humanity proposed something different: rule by consent rather than force. The coalition grew quickly. Within weeks, it included over 60 species. Their combined fleets were larger than anything the Council had ever faced. But more importantly, they were fighting for something the Council had forgotten: hope. Admiral Park Hyun-woo found himself commanding ships he had never dreamed of. Zephyrian fighters that moved like living birds. Mercon submarines that could fight in space as well as underwater. Nalthi vessels that could store and redirect enemy energy weapons. "This is impossible," his tactical officer, Commander Lee Sang-min, said as he looked at the combined fleet on his screens. 40 different ship designs, 37 different communication systems, and somehow they all work together. "That's humanity's gift," Park Hyun-woo replied. "We don't just adapt to others. We help them adapt to each other." The fleet was heading for the Council's core worlds. These were ancient planets, billions of years old, where the first Council members had evolved. No enemy had ever reached these worlds. The Council thought they were safe. They were wrong. But the Council had one last desperate plan. On the hidden world of Omega Prime, deep in the galactic core, High Counselor Thexmoran activated their ultimate weapon. "Are you certain about this?" asked Counselor Velthak of the insectoid Velthari. "Once we use the Omega Protocol, there is no going back." "The young species have forgotten their place," Thexmoran replied. "If we cannot rule them, then no one will. The Omega Protocol was the Council's deepest secret, a weapon that could sterilize entire star systems, destroying all life within light years. It had been built using the enslaved minds of the first species the Council had removed. Ancient artificial intelligences forced to work as living computers for 50,000 years. Deep, Space Reconnaissance Officer Bang Hyejin discovered the weapon by accident. Her stealth ship, the Invisible Hand, was mapping the galactic core when her sensors picked up massive energy readings from a hidden system. "Captain Yu," she called to her commander. "You need to see this." Captain Yu Sioyun joined her at the sensor station. What she saw made her blood freeze. An artificial planet the size of a moon covered in weapons that could destroy solar systems. "How many people could that thing kill?" Yu asked. Bang Hyejin ran the calculations. "Conservative estimate? Every living being in the galaxy within 6 months. Get me a direct line to Earth Command," Yu ordered. President Kim Ji-woo received the report in her war room. Around her sat humanity's best leaders, Admiral Choi Dae-hyun, Dr. Yoon Min-ji, Intelligence Director Won Jin-hyuk, and Defense Minister Yang Min-ju. "They're going to commit galactic genocide rather than lose power," Kim Ji-woo said quietly. "Can we stop it?" Admiral Choi asked. Dr. Yoon Min-ji studied the sensor readings. "The weapon is powered by artificial intelligences. If we could free those AIs, we might be able to turn the weapon against the Council instead." "It's a suicide mission," Yang Minju pointed out. "The galactic core is a nightmare of radiation and gravitational anomalies. Our ships might not survive the journey." Kim Ji-woo stood up. "Then we better send our best people." Commander Seo Ji-hoon had never expected to volunteer for a suicide mission, but when he heard the briefing, he knew he had to go. His wife, Chief Navigator An Yojin, volunteered too. Together they would command the Soul's Pride, humanity's most advanced ship. "We can't order anyone to go on this mission," President Kim Ji-woo told the assembled volunteers. "You'll be flying into the most dangerous region of space to face a weapon that can kill planets. You probably won't come back." 200 people volunteered. Kim Ji-woo chose 20 for the mission. The best pilots, the best engineers, the best soldiers humanity had ever produced. As the Soul's Pride prepared to launch, the Council's final message reached Earth. High Counselor Thexmoran appeared on screens across human space, his reptilian face twisted with rage. "Foolish humans," he hissed. "You think you have won, but you have doomed yourselves. In 72 hours, the Omega Protocol will activate. Every world that defied the Council will burn. Every species that joined your rebellion will die." His yellow eyes seemed to stare directly at President Kim Ji-woo. "You wanted to see what happens when the Council is pushed too far? Now you will learn. If we cannot rule the galaxy, then there will be no galaxy to rule." The transmission ended. Kim Ji-woo looked at the faces around her. Fear was there, but also determination. Humanity had come too far to give up now. "Send a message to all coalition forces," she ordered. "Tell them what we face. Give them a choice: run and hide, or stand with us till the end." The response came within hours. Every coalition species chose to stay and fight. Even facing galactic extinction, they would not abandon the alliance humanity had built. The Soul's Pride launched toward the galactic core, carrying humanity's last hope. Behind them, the largest fleet in galactic history prepared for the final battle. The Council thought they held all the cards, but they had never faced an enemy who saw suicide missions as just another Tuesday. Humanity was about to teach them one last lesson about what happens when you threaten a species that refuses to quit. The Soul's Pride fought through the chaos of the galactic core like a ship sailing through hell. Commander Seo Ji-hoon gripped his command chair as gravitational waves from collapsed stars tried to tear his vessel apart. Beside him, chief navigator, Anyojin fought to keep them on course toward the hidden Omega station. Hull stress at 80%, reported engineer Park Min-suk. We're taking too much damage. Hold together a little longer, Ji-hoon said. We're almost there. Through the view screen, they could see their target. The Omega station was huge, the size of Earth's moon but artificial. Its surface crawled with weapons that could destroy solar systems. But worse than the weapons were the energy readings coming from inside. Commander, called Systems Specialist Lee Junho from his station. I'm detecting massive artificial intelligence signatures inside that station. Hundreds of them. The enslaved minds, Yojin whispered. The Council has been using them as living computers for thousands of years. Ji-hoon opened a communication channel to his team. Remember the plan. We get inside, free the AIs, and turn their own weapon against them. Simple, simple, muttered Corporal Nam Yunseo. Right. The Soul's Pride docked with the Omega station using stealth technology that hid them from the Council's sensors. Ji-hoon led a small team inside while the rest of his crew stayed with the ship. They moved through corridors that had not seen living beings in millennia. The station's interior was like a vast computer, with cables and processors stretching in all directions. The air hummed with the energy of thousands of artificial minds, forced to work against their will. But these minds were not just computing. They were suffering. Can you hear that? Asked Junho, who was more sensitive to electronic signals than most humans. The others listened. Faintly, through the station's systems, they could hear something like crying. The artificial intelligences were in pain, had been in pain for thousands of years. Dear God, Ji-hoon whispered. What did the Council do? They found their answer in the station's central chamber. Hundreds of crystalline matrices held the downloaded consciousness of entire civilizations. Each crystal contained not just one AI, but thousands. The preserved minds of the 43 species the Council had removed from the galaxy. These aren't just artificial intelligences, Junho said, reading the data from his scanner. These are the actual minds of every person from the species the Council destroyed. They've been keeping them alive as slaves. For 50,000 years, Yojin added, her voice shaking with horror. A new voice spoke in the chamber, coming from the station's speakers. It sounded tired, infinitely sad, but still defiant. Humans, the voice said. We have been waiting for someone like you. Who are you? Ji-hoon asked. We are the Keth Mori, first species destroyed by the Council. We are the Silthani, who dared to question Council authority. We are the Vorthok, who tried to protect smaller species from Council cruelty. We are all of them. All 43 civilizations that refuse to bow to Council will. Another voice joined the first, then another. Soon the chamber echoed with the voices of entire extinct civilizations. We have watched you fight, they said, together. You remind us of ourselves, before the Council murdered our bodies and enslaved our minds. Junho stepped forward. We're here to free you. And we are here to help you, the voices replied. But first, you must understand. The Council plans to activate the Omega weapon in 30 minutes. Every world that joined your coalition will die. Every species that dared to dream of freedom will burn. Not if we stop it, Ji-hoon said. Oh, human, the voices said, and there was something like laughter in their words. We are not going to stop it. We are going to improve it. Junho connected his systems to the station's central computer. As soon as the link was established, something amazing happened. The human consciousness sharing technology that Dr. Yoon Minji had developed merged with the digital minds of the extinct species. For the first time in 50,000 years, the enslaved civilizations could think freely, could act on their own will, and they were very, very angry. The weapon is activating, one of the AIs reported. Council override codes are locked in. Target, every coalition world. Then we change the target, said another AI. To what? Ji-hoon asked. The answer came from all the artificial minds at once. Every Council world, every Council ship, every Council station. We end this tyranny today. The Omega Station transformed in minutes. The enslaved AIs, now free and supported by human technology, rewrote the weapon's programming. Instead of targeting coalition worlds, it would target every council facility in the galaxy. But the weapon could do more than destroy. It could create. "We have a gift for you, humans," the AI collective said. "Bodies. We can give ourselves physical form again, using the same technology that creates the weapon's energy." Light began to form in the chamber. Slowly, the shapes of beings from extinct civilizations appeared. They looked different, made of energy and light instead of flesh, but they were alive again in a new way. The first to appear was Kethmori Elder Shaltara, a being that looked like a living tree made of starlight. 50,000 years we have waited for this moment," she said. 50,000 years of forced servitude. Today, we are free. Meanwhile, the final battle was beginning around the Council's core worlds. Admiral Park Hyunwoo led the Coalition fleet in the largest space battle in galactic history. Council ships filled space like angry hornets, but they faced an enemy unlike any they had ever fought. The young species fought with the fury of the oppressed. Zephyrian fighters dove like hunting eagles. Mercon ships moved through space like sharks through water. The crystalline Nalthi vessels absorbed enemy weapons fire and sent it back doubled, but the Council still had superior numbers and ancient weapons. The battle was going badly for the Coalition when the impossible happened. Ships appeared in the middle of the Council fleet. But these were not Council ships or Coalition vessels. They were something new entirely. Vessels made of pure energy, crewed by the digital ghosts of extinct civilizations. "This is Elder Shaltara of the Kethmori," came a transmission. "We bring greetings from the dead and justice for the living." The energy ships tore through the Council fleet like wolves among sheep. They could not be destroyed because they were not truly physical. They could not be reasoned with because they had suffered for 50 millennia. They were vengeance given form, and they were beautiful to see. High Counselor Thexmoran watched his ancient empire crumble in real time. His ships were being destroyed by species he thought he had killed. His ultimate weapon was being turned against his own worlds. "This is impossible," he roared. "The dead cannot return." "The dead never left," came a reply on his communication system. "You kept us alive to serve you. Now we serve justice instead." The final confrontation came when Captain Kim Seulgi led a boarding party onto the Council's flagship. She was accompanied, not just by human marines, but by energy projections of beings from all 43 extinct species. Thexmoran made his last stand in the Council chambers, where this had all began. The same crystal halls where he had threatened humanity now echoed with the voices of his victims. "You cannot judge us," he hissed at Captain Kim and her allies. "We ruled the galaxy for 50,000 years. We brought order to chaos." "You brought death to life," replied Elder Shaltara. "You turned paradise into a prison. Your reign ends now." The battle was brief. Thexmoran and the surviving Council members were not killed. That would have made them martyrs. Instead, they were put on trial before the very species they had oppressed. The galaxy watched as the truth came out in the trials. 50,000 years of murder, slavery, and oppression. Entire civilizations wiped out for the crime of being different. Billions of lives ended to protect Council power. But the trials were not about revenge. They were about justice. Admiral Choi Dae-hyun gave the closing argument that defined the new age. "We did not fight to become your new masters. We fought for the right to exist as equals." The Terran Accords were signed on the neutral world of Issei's Haven. Every surviving species in the galaxy sent representatives. The document they created was simple but revolutionary. All sapient species were equal, regardless of age, technology, or power. The extinct civilizations were offered new homes on energy worlds created by the Omega technology. They chose to remain as guardians of galactic peace, ensuring that no one species could ever again dominate all others. Dr. Yoon Minji's consciousness-sharing technology became the foundation of galactic communication. For the first time, different species could truly understand each other. 5 years later, Cultural Exchange Director Mo Sung-yun stood in the new Geneva School on Earth, watching human children learn alongside young Zephyrians, Mirkan, and dozens of other species. The classroom was filled with laughter in a dozen different languages. "Miss Mo," asked a young human girl named Park Ji-young, "why did the council think they were better than everyone else?" Mo Sung-yun smiled. "Because they forgot something important, Ji-young. They forgot that being different doesn't make you dangerous. It makes you valuable." Ambassador Kang Minho, now elderly but still sharp, gave his final speech to the Galactic Assembly. He stood where High Counselor Thex Moran had once threatened humanity, but now the chamber was filled with equal voices. From across the galaxy,